Right, introducing the one, the only, Patrick Coakley! Why don't choose one?
Thank you very much, thank you for coming out, thank you. My name is Patrick Coakley, C-O-A-K-L-E-Y. Yes, I'm one of those people who has to spell their surname as soon as I've said it. It's got to the point where I've said it that often, it's actually become part of my full name. So now I'm actually called Patrick Daniel Arthur Coakley, C-O-A-K-L-E-Y. My debit card's like a foot wide. But yeah, this is obviously one of my first ever gigs, so I'm simply terrified. But I actually remember the day I fell in love with stand-up comedy was also the day I realised I was solidly middle class. So I was Eddie Murphy Raw on a skiing holiday. But yeah, while I was trying to think of funny things to tell you, I remember Del Wright's phrase, write what you know. So I thought, okay, I know about two things. So I either option A, might have had sex in so long I might have to be a virgin again. Or option B, movies. I think we're going to go with option B, movies. Mainly because it would be less upsetting for me, and I would like to think I know more about movies than not having sex. Alright, so movies. Alright, movies, okay. Fuck Mel Gibson, right? Fuck Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
I never fucking liked that guy. Fuck Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is an absolute Sorry, I can't say that. Fuck it, yeah. Mel Gibson is an absolute Catholic. Yeah. before you say it's a hate crime, I'm actually a Catholic myself. Or at least I was until I was 11 years old and I turned me back in the Catholic Church.
Oh yeah.
Nothing like that. I never laid a finger on me. It's always affected me self-esteem. But what happens is, like, when you're born into it, like I was, and now it's you go to Catholic school and Catholic church, this is what we call the confirmation ceremony, where you get to confirm, once again, either option A, you believe in it all, and you want to continue your life in the Catholic church, or option B, you think it's all nonsense, and that's the end of it. Now, you see, my elder brother Dominic, who's actually an altar boy at the church he went to, he didn't know there was an option B. Now, apparently, when he got to my turn, and I only found out about this recently, I told him, man, I don't believe a word of it. And that was that. Dominic wasn't happy. He wasn't happy at all. Because see, it's like part of the ceremony, there's something called, you get what's called the confirmation name. I think it has to be like a saint's name. So now his full name is Dominic Paul Graham Joseph Coakley, C-O-A-K-L-E-Y. His debit card's fucking massive. So anyway, Mel Gibson. Now all those things he was filmed and recorded saying were nasty and horrible and downright medieval, but this is not why I hate Mel Gibson. No. The one thing I can never ever forgive Mel Gibson for is letting a circa 1989 vintage Patsy Kensit drown in that lonely, cold LA harbour in Lethal Weapons. I know she to the waterline, Rad's hiding behind his diplomatic credentials, isn't he? Which I think we can all agree is the worst crime in cinema until Harvey Weinstein came along, but come on, Mel, it's a bit strong. So yeah, I completely forgot where I am.
Oscar.
Oscar. Anyway.
C-U-M.
Right, anyway. But yeah, ignore me, I'm the last person I want to talk to when it comes to films. I mean, I don't even need to see a film to give it a 2-star review. And to be honest, watching it could cloud my judgment. But speaking of reviews, believe it or not, but years back, when I was still having the sex, it was actually quite good. Never had any complaints. But none in writing, sorry. It was none in writing. Anyway, back to movies. I was going to talk about Fight Club, but you know.
That's a good one.
But no, something I can talk about though is when I was about 10 years old, right, I was off school poorly for a week. I flew and my mum said she'd rent me a film from the local video shop. So I asked her to get me 80s body swap comedy, Like Father, Like Son, starring Dudley Moore as an uptight business executive who swaps bodies with his laid-back teenage son due to mysterious bullshit. Or at least that's what it says on IMDb. Because I don't know. Because I haven't seen it. Because instead of getting me 80s body swap comedy like Father Like Son, she got me harrowing IRA prison drama in the name of the Father. Starring Pete Postlethwaite and Daniel Day-Lewis as father and son respectively. Now bear in mind, I'm 10 years old, right? And I'm full of flu, and I'm sat there. And I must be an hour into this film, maybe 10 years into their brutal, unjust sentence. And I'm thinking, when are they going to swap bodies? It was a traumatic experience, it really was. You know, it's the time you can't have me watch Bridge on the River Kwai. Couldn't go for it. Gets worse. There's something I do like though, is movies with misleading titles. Like, have you ever seen an Alfred Hitchcock film, Rear Window? When you can clearly see James Stewart perving up his front window. And then there's 3 Mile. Can't be more than 30 yards. Goodfellas. It's wonderful that he's fucking suicidal. Are they funnier than me?
Very well, lass.
Apocalypse Now, released a year late. Escape to Victory, 4 All Talk. Das Boot is Das Boot is not about a German cobbler. And finally, Snatch. As we all know, it's not a porno. It does mean a lot of cats getting fucked. But I'm pretty weird when it comes to films. I don't like watching films I've seen before. Which I know sounds stupid, but clearly am. But like, it's the reason I watched World War II in colour on Netflix. Like, I know it's not a film, but I know how it ends. But when it comes to films I haven't seen before, honestly, I'm a complete coward. I remember the first time I watched Basic Instinct, it scared the shit out of me. I know. What a pussy. But no, when it comes to something that's genuinely terrifying as The Exorcist, I can handle it no problem because, you know, I've seen it before. Although, to be fair, that bit where she's in the attic with a candle and that cobweb bursting into flames, Jesus Christ, makes me think I should have stuck with the Catholic Church. Speaking of which, here's one for you. How many Oscars did Sister Act win? None. But while we're on the subject of Catholics, I think it's about time we talked about the mother, Patricia. Or to use her full name, Patricia Eileen Elizabeth Perpetua Coakley, C-O-A-K-L-E-Y. Then the car's like a fucking scheme. But yeah, you might have noticed her confirmation name in there. Perpetua. Yeah, Perpetua. I believe it's Latin for it can't be reasoned with, it can't be bargained with, it doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop. Actually, no, sorry, that's the Terminator. You get the idea. See, because Patricia is quite a character. And when I say character, that's code for, oh, man, you can't say that. But she's been reading the Daily Mail for 40 years, so she thinks she can. But it's not just what she says, it's the way she talks. Right? Somehow she's got it into it that she's actually quite posh, which is so far from the truth. I remember saying to her, Mum, why do you talk like that? And she goes, oh, Patrick, my darling, what on earth are you talking about? And I'm like, Pat, exactly what I'm talking about. You just sound so pretentious. And she goes, pretentious? What? But it's amazing, like, she's actually Irish, she's like a proper tinker. She's from one of the smallest villages in Ireland, it's called Killer. And yeah, the thought was crossing. But no, it's amazing, right? Cause and I'm not joking, it's one street with 16 pubs down it and a graveyard at either end. which I think is a perfect metaphor for Ireland. Obviously she likes to drink, mainly red wine, which is also perfect because the village is in County Cork. That's true. I would say that's a joke. But no, one thing I don't know about her is actually how old she is. I'm assuming she's fairly old because she pretty much talks black and white. They once heard her tell someone she's born after the war. So I was thinking, which one? The First World War? The Crimean War? And mysteriously, I've never seen her passport. And if you ask her when she was born, the best will get out of her the 11th of January. They're like Terminator. So we go, what year? What year?
Do it.
I remember when I was a kid, she used to mark my height on the door frame next to the oven in the kitchen. And years back, when I did have a girlfriend, she was, oh, that's so cute. You were recording your height all those years. That's so cute. That's so cute. That's so cute. So she wasn't recording my height. She was really counting down the years so I could reach the oven and cook for myself. And to be honest, I was more pleased than she was. I learned that cookout self-defense. No, I didn't want to see her go to prison for saying got that muck night after night for child cruelty. Not that she would survive inside. I mean, she's fucking fine. She'd be running her womb back in the week. She's like Noel Coward in the Italian job, only slightly more pompous. If you don't know who Noel Coward is, imagine the acting posh Hall of Fame. You got Queen Elizabeth II, Noel Coward, and Edwin Mann. Like she might not be a queen, but she definitely ruled her wing. And you're not being a right wing, because she's still getting Daily Mail delivered to her cell every morning. I'll tell you what's a nightmare trying to book her a flight, honestly. She refuses to get on a plane with the left wing. But now we went to Paris once, published on the Eurostar, and we went to Paris for a weekend, and she wanted to go shopping or get a handbag or something. So we got this taxi in Paris, and we were like flying down the side of the River Seine. And the taxi driver like slammed all on because there was this massive anti-capitalist protest going on with all the flags and the flares and speakers and all that shit. And so I'm talking to the driver, trying to convince him to go on. Patricia has dived out of the taxi and just disappeared into the crowd. I mean, we might be next to the same, but she's far from it. Because what started out as a fairly peaceful protest soon descended into one of the worst riots Paris has ever seen. Because in her infinite wisdom, she's gone diving out of a taxi in a mink coat and sunglasses, waving a fucking credit card around and demanding to know where the Chanel shop is. And now she's wanted by Interpol for being the main instigator of the ensuing riot. Because unfortunately, the protesters mistook her for an anti-capitalist agitator in fancy dress, giving it all that. And obviously she's oblivious to all this. And so finally she finds the Chanel shop. But it's shocked to see the shutters are coming down. And she's thinking, why are the shutters coming down this afternoon on Saturday? So she's waving the credit card at the woman. And then she sees this look of absolute terror on the woman's face. So she turns round. And she's the angry mob following mum all the way to the Chanel shop, fully intent on scratching. And apparently the last thing my mum was heard saying was, what's French for getting a white handbag? Most of that is true.
Je voudrais un blanc handbag.
No. But yeah, looks like my mum, she never believed, she was a Catholic but never believed in word for it either. Although she did still take us to church every year on Christmas Eve for midnight mass. Which, come to think of it, was always at 8 o'clock. Is that another misleading time for you there? It's not like the Catholic Church to lie to you. But did you know that up until the 1930s, Father Christmas was always pictured in green? But when they realised they weren't selling enough cans during the winter months, the Coca-Cola Corporation produced this vastly expensive but wildly successful marketing campaign that pictured Father Christmas in what we know now, the world over, to be the traditional lead costume, which is obviously the colour of carrots. But this blew my mind, right? This blew my mind. Can you imagine another multi-billion-dollar corporation with a near endless budget and vast global reach where they could actually change the colour of a Christmas icon in the minds of the world? You don't have to imagine. It's called the Catholic Church. Jesus Christ! Deserve much better than this. I mean, I know I take a piss out of the Catholic Church and rightly so. But if Jesus existed and said is this word and said the things he was supposed to have said, then I ain't got a problem with Jesus. I ain't got nothing but love for Jesus. It's just those fat fucking Italian and Irish motherfuckers sat around that big creepy board table in the badly lit boardroom of the Vatican years ago that I have a problem with. Sat there coming up with some dastardly scheme to convince all the black and brown Catholics of the world that they're inherently inferior to these white men dripping in gold and sanctimony. And you know, one of them would jump to their feet and shouted, probably in Latin, "Let's make Jesus white!" And that was that. Absolute marketing genius. And you know those sick maniacs will be thinking, this will save on printing costs going forward. But like I said, I like Jesus. I've got a lot of time for him because I think we both have a lot in common. Firstly, we both have a beard. Admittedly, I've only had mine since lockdown, and he's had his for over 2,000 years. But it made me think, Jack and Jesus had to buy that beard oil and a little pair of scissors and a little brush. Or did he just wake up in the morning and just like Jesus, it he's all set to go miracles for day. That's fucking blasphemy. But the second thing I've got in common with Jesus is my dad was also a carpenter. Well, actually, he was a joiner. And to be fair, it wasn't on Galilee, it was on Teesside, but still. And the last thing I've got in common with Jesus is, well, it might not sound that impressive, but both our surnames begin with the letter C. But it did make me think, Jack and Jesus ever had to go, yeah, it's Jesus Christ, Christ. Now, technically, that is blasphemy. But it would have been if he didn't laugh. Because if he didn't laugh, then I would have taken his name in vain. As you can tell, I do have a lot of free time on my hands. So recently I've been watching way too much true crime documentaries. Like what's happening in US crime docs. I'm too scared to go back to America. I've only been once before, but now I'm way too scared. And do you know why I'm too scared to go back? It's not because of guns, and it's not because of Trump supporters. The one thing that terrifies me in America is dumpsters. Like, has anyone ever been murdered in America and not been found in a dumpster? If you don't know what a dumpster is, remember the big bins going around the back of school? Imagine one of them behind a badly lit convenience store full of dead hookers. It's not funny. It's just unfortunately very true. It's unfortunately very true. Because like, honestly, in America, every murder, it starts with a story about a body being found in a dumpster. I made me think I could massively reduce the murder rate in America just by getting rid of the dumpsters. Yes, so where would you put the trash? Good question. Where would you put the trash? And to be honest, I've always preferred American trash. Because over here it's rubbish. I think the nearest British equivalent would be the man walking his dog that finds the body. Like every murder in the UK for the last 30 years starts with a man walking his dog that finds the body. And you got me thinking, what if it's the same man every time? Because we don't know. Because they never print his name. So maybe they never take his name. And maybe it turns out it's the same dog walker every time, but they haven't joined the dots. And then it turns out, for the last 30 years in the UK, he's been committing and reporting every murder for the last 30 years. I know you're thinking it's a bit far-fetched, isn't it? Dogs don't live for 30 years. It'd be like Belgian shit stirrer Hercule Poirot, turning out to be Europe's most prolific serial killer. No one should be surprised. He dresses like a mafia dog, he's got a whopping great ego, and every time he goes on holiday, people start dropping like flies. And then he pins it on the maid or the jealous husband and trots off in his next one to transport. And according to Interpol, he's got 85 confirmed kills, which is actually more than the Belgian army got throughout the entire Second World War. Actually, no, we got 200. We got 200. Yeah, I'm only saying that to piss off my mate, Belgian Mike. He's obviously from over there, but they just call him Mike. But,
slim down though, aren't he?
yeah, he's got bald as well. So, where were we? Belgian Mike, Hercule Poirot, and then...
Do ass sex.
That's not a joke in my tonight's repertoire. Okay, where were we? Talk amongst yourself, do not talk amongst yourselves. Okay,
Feeling alright.
Okay, right, it's maybe not a crime at the moment, but I'm sure the internet could turn it into one. But when I was a kid, I started this rumour about Hollywood actor Andy Garcia. And every time we mentioned I was on telly, like, anyone would listen, I'd say, did you know, when Andy Garcia was born, he was part of a Siamese twin. Like, honestly, I'd say to everybody, I mean, I might not start the rumour, but I spread it around as a vicious little gossip. But yeah, and then a couple of years back, I read this interview in the Sunday papers. It was like a 60-second interview. One of the questions was, what's the weirdest rumour you've ever heard about yourself? And Andy Garcia said, I once heard that when I was born, I was part of a Siamese twin, which I can categorically state is untrue. Rhino. I think he's lying. I've never trusted him. I've already said he was two-faced. Another rumour I heard was apparently they're making a sequel to Ghost. Yeah, Patrick Swayze's coming back. I love Patrick Swayze. Honestly, he's obviously we all know he's one of the good guys, and he was, he's a respected martial artist, and also a fabulous dancer. So not only did he take you out, he could fucking take you out. But much like Sir Patrick Swayze, my dad was also a nice little mover. I mean, my mum will tell you she's a fucking fabulous dancer, but my dad actually was. But that was belting, honestly. It's like, have any heard of 420, International Weed Day? It's like 20th of April, every year, I know you will, every year, Pot Avenue students crawl out of their basement flats to go to my local park to litter basically the fucking streets. But best thing about International Weed Day, though, 20th of April, is it's also my dad's birthday. And because like my dad's like the loveliest, sweetest, like nicest man you'd ever meet, and he did like a pint, but that's as far as it went. I mean, he did live through the 60s, but I think he missed it because he was working. So we have 20th of April, we have my dad's birthday, and International Weed Day. So I thought, what a great day to celebrate? Perfect. But then I found out it was also Hitler's birthday. So his days go better than Nick's back. So we have my dad, weed, and Hitler. Just so you know, I love to out three of those things. Don't worry, I'm a part of that one, actually. Seriously, the only place I've ever invaded is the fridge at 3 in the morning. So just to be clear, I love my dad and I love weed, and Hitler can go fuck himself, fucking virgin, fucking up a perfectly good day. Apart from all the horrific crimes obviously. I mean, if only Hitler had hit the bomb, I mean, millions of lives could have been saved. Can you imagine, like, Hitler and all his cronies sat around on a Saturday night, and one of his cronies pipes up, I won't do the voice, can we invade Poland? And Hitler's like, nah. There's a good chocolate on Berlin's Got Talent tonight. We'll do it tomorrow. Pass the band first. I know you think it's a bit far-fetched, isn't it? Hitler's vegetarian. I remember the last time I had a bomb. I went round to my mate's house a few years ago, sat down to borrow a drill or something, and I get there and he sat in the kitchen and he's like, do you want a bomb? And I'm like, what, am I 17? Yeah, I'll have a bomb. Fitted this bomb, right, and he had the radio on. I think it was Kiss FM, and it was that was well timed, wasn't it? And it was I think it was Bootylicious by Destiny's Child, or as they're now known, Beyonce. But like, I absolutely love this tune, right? It's an absolute banger. But like, it turns out I've been singing the lyrics wrong for years, because I thought it said, I don't think you're ready for this jam yet. Like, this tune is so banging, you can't even handle it. But my mate went, what are you on about, mate? That's not the words. It actually says, I don't think you're ready for this jelly. So I thought, jelly? One, it's not cool. Two, it's not sexy. And three, if you're not ready to eat jelly, I mean, it's easy to eat than soup. It's not even hot. And if you're not ready to eat jelly, you're certainly not going to be ready for the Temple of Doom course. You want to eat the jelly? Or it's chill monkey brains for everybody. I thought so. And then I thought, in America, don't they say jam, not jelly? And then I thought, maybe there's a UK version where she sings jam, not jelly. And then I thought, fuck me, I'm really stoned. That's a proud first. But yeah, speaking of the radio, years back, when I used to live with the lads, we always used to have the radio on in the kitchen. And it used to be Radio 1. And then I realised I wasn't a kid anymore, so I started listening to Radio 2. And then I realised I wasn't an arsehole, so I started listening to Classic FM. So I realised I was in fact a complete arsehole. But yeah, no, because my dad used to always have classical music on in the car, but I never had any interest in it. But you know, it's good background music and that, and if you have it on long enough, eventually you start picking up the odd name and you start recognising the odd tune and that. And then, you know, you can eventually like name a composer and the actual tune, and you experience the same level of smugness as you do when you get one on University Challenge. Just have enough. But so I started getting into it. So I started looking up some of the big composers like Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Ludwig van Beethoven, and of course Johann Sebastian Bach. So while I was looking into these guys, I found out that back in the 80s there was this script floating around Hollywood about this young kid travelling through time, kidnapping all the world's greatest composers to bring them together to create this piece of music that would unlock the mysteries of the universe. Now, obviously that sounds a lot like the plot to the 10 Seconds Adventure, which is one of the reasons why it ultimately never got made. But the main reason it never got made is at some point, Steven Spielberg signed on to direct. Like at that point, he was the most powerful man in Hollywood. And at that point, suddenly it became a surefire smash hit and a guaranteed hit. And so every actor in Hollywood wanted a piece of it. Like every agent's phone in Hollywood was just blowing up. It was insane. So much so that in an unprecedented way, Steven Spielberg organised a table read of the script, like a first rehearsal of the script before like any parts had been given out or any contract had been signed, anything like that. Honestly, it was unmitigated disaster. Honestly, one of the biggest disasters in the history of Hollywood. Honestly, so much so, in one corner, you had Robert De Niro and Al Pacino arguing over who was going to play Mozart. In another corner, you had Jack Nicholson and Warren Beatty bickering over who was going to play Beethoven. And finally, a young Arnold Schwarzenegger stormed out of the room saying, "I'll be back." And we jumped like that, there's absolutely no guarantee I will be. Thank you very much, everybody.